Yo, what's up? It's your boy OversizeOwl. Back in the Few Words podcast. We got Cube Dog with me, and we got a
what's
special
up?
guest. We got
Hey guys,
Jordan.
Sir.
how's it going?
It's going good, going good. Some pretty breaking news. Gronkowski retired for the second time. So,
Yeah.
do you guys? Was this pretty shocking to you guys, or would you?
I mean, yes, kind of, because I figured he would finish out, one more season with Brady. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I kind of saw it coming because Gronk's getting up there. He's been in the league for so long. He already retired once. I mean, I thought he was done after that first time. Then once Brady came back and signed with the Bucks, I think he did some convincing and came
Yeah.
back and wanted to go a couple more rounds with Brady. And once Brady, quote unquote, retired, he was like, oh, this might be it for me. I don't want to go play anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he got a ring out of it, so
he did. Yes,
I'd be happy about that.
4 rings.
So, do you guys think that this affects Tom Brady and the Bucks a lot, or is it just like a minor setback for them?
I mean, it's a big loss for him, yes. Because they're gonna have to call up someone new. I mean, I haven't even seen their roster, so I don't know who's next in line, but that is one of Brady's go-to guys, and with him
Yeah.
gone, that's gonna take away one of his advantages. Because I mean, he threw for 45 touchdowns last year, most than any quarterback last year in the league. So that's definitely gonna, having a disadvantage for him. But I think they'll still find a way to make it in because I mean it's Brady. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
me and Ryan were talking about it yesterday, and Rob is kind of his comfort receiver. So anytime he's in a hard spot or a tough spot, he looks to Gronk, and he's usually got the catch easy.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see.
100%.
The backup, I think we mentioned it. I can't remember his name, but I think he's a solid player, young up and coming player. So
I
we
think
should
it's
see more from him.
I think it's OJ Howard is his
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
I mean, he was drafted pretty high whenever he came out, so expect big things from him. I mean, especially since Rob is the guy, and now he's not there. So I mean,
yeah,
you tell me
I
he's
mean-
not gonna get any.
he still has Mike Evans and all them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I was, playing fantasy or whatever, I would definitely consider taking Mike Evans, top round 1 or 2, or Chris Godwin.
yeah, got
So, I mean, a question I've been thinking about for a while now is, do you guys think that Gronk is the best tight end of all time? Because I mean,
It's tight. I mean, he's definitely up there. I mean, but it's just so hard because there's been so many good tight ends. You
yeah,
got Tony Gonzalez. He was amazing. Let's see, you still have Kittle and Kelsey in the league. They're still going. There's a chance that they could, catch up and ultimately surpass him. But
Yeah.
Gronk will definitely always be a top 3 tight end. Number 1, that's kind of iffy right now because we don't even know if he's officially retired. I mean, like I said, he's already retired once. Who said he's gonna, come out of retirement the second time?
yeah,
He might run it back with Brady, kind of like what Brady did with his retirement. He missed the game so much. He was just like, I have to come back. So he might do that.
And to be honest, I mean, I think Kelsey is probably better than Gronkowski, in my opinion. Because I mean, he's
Oh,
had 9 1,000-yard seasons for the past 9 years or whatever. So I mean, to me, it's Kelsey's number 1, and then whoever else.
Yeah.
So
To put up those numbers with, I mean, he has Patrick Mahomes, but before that, he didn't always have Brady. So, that's pretty impressive.
So someone I want to bring up for you guys is Deshawn Watson. I mean, he's been in the slumps for the last 2 years. I mean, this guy's been through hell and back, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys? I mean, he got some more lawsuits against him. Pretty sure that they were settled already. Most of them were. I mean, they still have Baker Mayfield. They got Deshawn Watson. They got Jacoby Brissett. I mean, what should the Browns do? Because I mean, it's super confusing what's going on in Cleveland.
That's a tough one. I always thought, they drafted Baker, the first overall pick all those years ago, and I thought he was going to be their guy. But over the last couple of years, he's been up there. He's been able to make some plays. He just hasn't been as consistent as we thought he was going to be, and that's made them have wandering eyes. And they've looked to Deshaun Watson because he was trying to get out of Houston. That little crap hole over there. That team's been going under for the last couple of years. It seems like they finally got their man. And I mean, after Baker's last season, I think Deshaun Watson is going to be their starter this upcoming season. Baker's going to have to work for it, If not, he's definitely going to be second string. I don't see Jacoby, bumping up there unless both of them get hurt. Although, I mean, I've heard rumors that Carolina is in talks of trying to trade for Baker Mayfield. So we should see what happens with that too, because that would change a lot of the powerhouse.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think Baker to the Panthers would be a pretty solid trade. I mean, they need a QB. They have Sam Darnold, who he throws like 20 picks a game. I mean,
he hasn't been the greatest after getting he got drafted 3rd overall. And went to the Jets, and just now they got Zach up there.
And to be honest, I think that Christian McCaffrey has been kind of the guy who has kind of been disappointment the last 2 years. I mean, he's been injured so much. So
Christian McCaffrey is definitely their glue of that team. He's the heart and soul, if I had to say it. He was an amazing running back. It's been brutal watching him the last couple seasons because he's always been injury. Like, he'd start the season good, get injured in the 4th week, 5th week. Because I drafted him, I think 3 years ago, and he did amazing. He finished the whole season. He was my top running back, but lately it's just like, why draft him when I can get Derrick Henry or Aaron Jones, anybody? I don't want a running back that's going to risk
Jonathan Taylor.
Or Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, it's
I mean, I think that the 2019 season was so big. I mean, maybe that's why he had so many injuries, because I mean, the guy had 2,000 yards, crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then also I want to mention Tyreek Hill. He obviously went to the Miami Dolphins. He left Patrick Mahomes, who was a very, very good player. So it's kind of shocking to me, if I'm being honest. Cooper, do you think that Tua can be that guy in Miami, or do you think that he's not going to develop into what everybody was expecting him to be?
So right now, I think they're definitely looking to him to be that guy. Whether or not he rises to the challenge is his decision, but I think he's definitely a solid pick, and I would see him improving drastically this year. He's got some other receivers in the backfield, so we'll see what he can do with it.
Mm-hmm. Jordan, what do you think?
I mean, he has been a top 10 receiver the last couple of years in the league, and it was shocking when he decided to leave Mahomes and go all the way down to Miami. But I mean, at the end of the day, the NFL is a business, and if KC wasn't willing to pay him what he needed to be paid, I can understand why he left. But there's a chance for Hill to be that guy down there. I mean, they got Tua. He's a young quarterback, still learning the ropes. And honestly, I think Tua could learn from Tyreek as much as Tyreek can learn from Tua. Like I said, Tyreek's been in the league for a couple of years. It hasn't been until Mahomes showed up that he's actually been going off and catching the attention of everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a chance for Tyreek to be that guy down there to take charge of that team and to lead it. So
yeah, I mean, I think Tyreek maybe should stay in Kansas City, because I mean, I mean, I know that they had some struggles last year, and I mean, they've still been the best team in the NFL for the last, 4 years probably. So to me, it was really shocking. But I understand he wants money. He wants to be the highest paid receiver, which he is now. So I mean, you can't discredit him for wanting to be that guy.
No, you
So
can't.
and then so back to Deshaun Watson, because I mean this guy is all over the news. I mean, um,
Oh yeah.
they still haven't punished Deshaun Watson yet. What do you guys think his punishment should be for all these allegations?
Well, let's see. He has. I know he has a lot of allegations, and I think most of them have been settled or getting ready to finish being settled. Last time I checked, if the league has to punish him, I can see them, of course, fining him. That's their basic punishment for everybody, regardless of what you do. You always get a little fine, so they'll definitely fine him a couple $1 million. And then they might ban him for the first 4 weeks, or worst case scenario, half the season.
Yeah,
And
I
if
think
that's
I think it was like more of like half the season. Like he, even if the Browns got him, they couldn't play him till like week 7 or week 8.
and
So
at that point, I think that's would be a perfect time for Baker to step in and say, "Hey, this is my team. This is what I want to do." And if they come to week 8 and Deshaun Watson gets in a couple of games he's been doing, not what they thought, they might stick to Baker, or they could just see how much better Deshaun Watson is, and that would be the final stake to the hammer to the stake, where Baker decides, all right, the Browns don't believe in me, and he can go anywhere, be a free agent.
I mean, Baker, he's not a bad QB. I mean, he's definitely, in my opinion, a starter. I don't think he should be a backup by any chance.
Oh no.
I do. I mean, it was kind of risky when the Browns picked him number 1. I mean, he was the Heisman.
Yeah.
He did have kind of an attitude a little bit, but that's just
We've known that for the last 4 years he played at OU there. Yeah.
so. I mean, we'll see what happens with Baker, and hopefully he gets to a better situation. But so I want to ask you guys again. So the last year we had a lot of QBs taken in the draft. We had Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, like all those big name QBs. Which sophomore QB will have the best second year season? Cooper, you want to go first?
So obviously, like Trevor Lawrence needs to do something with his team, the Jaguars. Coming off how many games did they win? Like 2?
Yeah, 2.
2 the whole season. So obviously he doesn't have a lot to work with. But we need to see something from him for sure. I think he'll definitely have a better season than he did getting used to playing in Jacksonville.
What do you think, Jordan?
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, he kind of struggled last year, but I don't blame him. He was playing under Urban Meyer, who was definitely suited for college and college only.
Yeah.
He did not do too well in the NFL, and I'm glad that they fired him. But
Yeah,
it's also going to be a struggle for him as well. 'Cause, I mean, he had to learn under Urban Meyer, and then this year he has a whole new coach, which is going to implement a whole new set of plays, styles, culture, etc.
yeah,
So it's going to be an interesting year to see, and if Lawrence can produce, then that signifies that he could be a good upcoming legacy quarterback, and reason why he was drafted first overall. And I think Trey Lance, he might get his start this year. I know they've struggled over there in San Francisco with their starting QBs, and they
yeah.
just lost Debo Samuels. So that's an opportunity for him to step up and be their lead guy. Jordan, Jordan Love and up in Green
Green
Bay.
Bay.
Uh, I never know. I thought it was going to be his year this year. Rodgers was going to retire, but Rodgers has been performing like crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's also learning under Rodgers, so there's a good chance that, once Rodgers leaves, that he'll be able to continue the Packers, to 10 plus wins. And then one quarterback we didn't mention was Mac Jones, and he shocked all of us, especially me being a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
He came to play. He was ready to rock and roll. But we also got to credit our defense. That was definitely our strongest suitor last year.
Mhm.
So,
And
Patriots are definitely in good hands.
Yeah, we'll get to the Patriots. I know you're a Patriots fan.
yeah.
But I mean, to me, I think, like I said, Trevor Lawrence is the guy who needs to step up. I mean, he was the number one pick. I know Urban Meyer was the guy who kind of screwed everything up, and you can't, touch a woman like that.
No.
I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything else about that.
Yeah,
But, so, and then Russell Wilson, he got traded to the Broncos. I know Cooper, who's a Seahawks fan, was really upset by this. But how much better are the Broncos now that they have Russell Wilson?
Cooper, you want to answer this?
Yeah, I can answer this. I mean, like obviously Russell Wilson's a franchise quarterback and he's done great things for Seattle. So I would see him having a bright future in Denver with their young talent. They got who do they have for receiver? Because I know they have some Jerry Jeudy, and then there's a couple more, but they've definitely got some talent at the receiver position.
Yeah, there's so many. Oh yeah, Cortland Sutton is also a big name.
They got a lot of former Alabama.
I mean, they got two running backs. They got Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. So, Jordan, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's going to be interesting seeing, especially since Russell Wilson, I feel like, has been in Seattle for forever. He's been there so long, and then all of a sudden for him to leave. But at the end of the day, it's not as strange as, we had Brett Favre, who started off in Green Bay and he left. And I mean, heck, you had Jerry Rice, who started off in the 49ers, and that by the end of his career is playing for the Raiders. But I think he still has talent. He's a franchise quarterback. He's going to do amazing things there in Denver. If they can just build a team around him and give him the weapons that they need, they will definitely be successful. I mean, they tried with Drew Lock, Drew Lock, and they just weren't clicking. I mean, he would pass for 5 touchdowns, but give up 4 INTs. He wasn't getting good enough progress for the team and scoring as much as they would like. So that's gonna be interesting to watch.
Now he's in Seattle, so I mean, we'll see if he does well there.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle still had talent, and maybe that will be the motivation Drew Lock needs. Like they traded Russell Wilson to my team, and I get the Seahawks now. Maybe that's his revenge tour. We shall see.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of teams in the NFL that look really good to win a Super Bowl this upcoming season. Which team do you guys think is like the most like underdog rated team right now that could go to the Super Bowl right now?
Underdog? Ooh.
I know
Las Vegas.
Okay, Las Vegas.
I have to say Las Vegas, because I mean they made the playoffs and they shocked me personally, and they were getting things done. I mean, it sucks that they just lost one of their top receivers due to I guess reckless driving. We'll leave it at that. But I think they drafted some good talent this year and are willing to build a team. They still got Darren Wallen. Walker, I don't remember the tight end. Wallen.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a good tight end. Derek Carr is still producing, so I think they're one of the most underrated teams to make the Super Bowl this year. So
Cooper, what do you think?
So I don't know if they're underrated, but definitely the Bills, with their crazy performance with the Chiefs. Some say they lost over a coin toss, but
yeah.
but yeah, I think they will definitely be at the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. I mean, they got Von Miller too. So
Yeah.
Marina was just like,
I know. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Buffalo Bills are looking really solid. Josh Allen, who to me will be the next MVP next year.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
110.
But so let's continue talking about the Pats, the Patriots. Their team that last year really kind of surprised everybody. I mean, Mike Jones carried the team. You got Kendrick Bourne. You got a ton of guys who can make plays on that team. So do you guys think, Jordan, I know you're a big fan of the Pats. Do you think the Pats can go all the way this season?
All the way. I mean, there's always a good chance, to go all the way, especially since we made it to the first round of the playoffs last year, and we did get creamed by the Bills. I will admit that was not a fun game to watch,
Yeah.
but I think there's a good chance. We just need to figure out our mistakes on offense. Our receiving core has dwindled ever since we've traded everyone. Amendola left, Chris Hogan left, Edelman retired. Of course, Brady left, Gronk long time ago. I mean, that was our core and that was our dominating force for the longest time. Once Brady left and Edelman left, I mean, we had Cam Newton that 1 year, and we drafted. We've struggled with drafting. I trust Belichick. He's always found way to make talents. He's always tried avoiding the first couple of rounds and getting talent later, which, whatever magic he has, it's been working. So as long as we can, continue like drafting good picks, good receivers, building up around Mac Jones and what he feels more comfortable. I think he's more of a pocket passer than runner like Cam Newton was, or heck, even Patrick Mahomes who will run when necessary. I think Jones likes staying in the pocket. So if we can just get some good receivers on the edge and some good linemen up front, I think the Patriots will be in good hands. I mean, our defense is still one of the top 5 defenses in the league, so that will definitely help. So I think there's a good chance that they could go all the way.
Cooper, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Jordan. They're definitely in good hands with Mac Jones. I think Bill Belichick coaches better with a pocket passer rather than like a more active QB in the pocket. So yeah.
And then, I mean, to your point, right, you guys got Damian Harris, who last year really showed up. I mean, he's a guy that, he's from Alabama, so kind of expected him to be a pretty solid talent. But I mean, Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, they've had a relationship for the last like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, they've, anytime someone thinks of the NFL, they usually think of Brady or Belichick. NCAA, they always think of Bama and Saban. I mean, yeah, I think they have a good relationship, and Belichick has seen what Saban does and the culture that he implements at Alabama, and he likes drafting those Alabama players, because I think their cultures are similar in style and coaching experience. So, when Alabama players come up to the NFL, they're used to it. They already know the drill, foot behind the line, finish, don't do this, don't do that. We win, we're a brotherhood, whatever. So I think there's a good connection and a reason why they draft those people.
Yeah. But you guys did lose Josh McDaniels, who was a big piece of the offense they've had for a long time. How big of a loss do you think that was for you guys, Jordan?
I will admit that was a pretty big loss. I mean, he's been the OC for as long as I can remember. And there was even talks that Belichick was going to retire once Brady left, and he was going to take the position as head coach. And,
Yeah.
Belichick, as we know, is still here. And, then of course, McDaniels, I don't blame him. He was looking forward to probably that job or maybe getting paid more, and the Patriots, couldn't afford that. So of course, like I said earlier, it's a business. Whoever can offer him the most money and worth his time, he's going to go there.
Yeah.
We do have Matt Patricia back though, which is interesting after he was on our team and we let him go, and he went to go to Detroit, and then now he's back. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to be calling a lot of the plays, and as well as Mac. I think Belichick trusts Mac enough to call some of his own plays. I mean, he's no Brady, but he definitely will have a little bit more control over the play calling this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think Matt Patricia was a defense coordinator, right? Or was he?
Yeah, he was a DC.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, whenever you go to Detroit, I mean, it's always a risk. And
Oh yeah, that's a red flag right there. Everyone
Yeah.
finishes their career in Detroit.
yeah. I mean, to me, I think Detroit this next season will be probably a 5 or 6 win team, I think.
Oh yeah, it's going to take a while for them to build back up, but they'll definitely be better than they were last year.
Yeah. I mean, Jared Goff had like 2 wins probably.
I think he had 2 wins, yeah.
So,
But
I mean,
they did have an amazing draft class, so that should definitely help them.
Yeah. They drafted Jeff Okuda. Is that right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And he was injured last year. So, I mean, hopefully we see a better Detroit that we've seen probably the last 10 years, to be honest. But I mean, switching over to college football, we got OSU fans, we got Nebraska fan, and Cooper. So OSU last season was pretty good. I mean, we weren't bad. We had a pretty dominant season. I mean, we only lost 2 games. The last one against Baylor really hurt me.
Oh yeah, that one stung. That one hurt.
I mean, he was like 6 inches away or something like that. Like, I watched the whole thing at Buffalo Wild Wings. So
I was in my living room. I was watching it from the couch. That was brutal.
I mean, we lost our defense coordinator,
Jim Knowles. Yeah.
Jim Knowles. So I mean, Cooper or Jordan, how big of a thing for losing Jim Knowles is this? Because I mean, he's the one that really helped spike our defense up a lot. So do you think this is a pretty big guy we're losing, or I mean, is this because I mean this guy was the guy at OSU and he's the one that changed our whole defense. So what do you guys think about him leaving? How big is that impact is it to OSU?
Coop, you want to go ahead and go first?
I'll let you take this one.
You want to take it? All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a big loss. I will admit that it stings losing him, especially since he left Oklahoma State to go to Ohio State, and that's kind of scary because usually you want to go somewhere better, or people will offer you, if you're worth the time and money, and Ohio State coming out and offering Jim Knowles, so that just shows you how amazing of a guy he was. So it does sting. We're losing him. We did just get Derrick Mason though, and he was a I don't know if he was a
Auburn?
DC. He was he a DC or was he the head coach at Auburn?
I think he was a DC probably. Yeah.
Because I knew he came from Auburn, and then a couple years before that he was at Vanderbilt, which kind of worried me because Vanderbilt's never been that great at football. But I think we just have to wait and see what he does. I mean, part of the reason why our defense was so good last year is we had a lot of seniors, a lot of, fifth years because of that COVID year. Like Malcolm Rodriguez came back for his 5th year. He was a big time player for us. So I think we'll just have to wait and see. I think more than likely our offense will be better than our defense this year.
Yeah.
I mean, we're returning our whole D line: Brock Martin, Trace Ford. I mean, Colin Oliver, all-time American freshman last year. He's coming back.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be taking over the defense in the next coming years if he chooses to stay and doesn't want to leave, which I hope he doesn't. we just got the best JUCO linebacker in the nation
Mhm. I
transferred
saw
in.
that.
So yeah, so it just depends on what Derrick Mason brings to the culture, and how he chooses to run the defense, and it also depends on how much the players actually want it. Like I said, our D line's returning; they're all going to be seniors, except Oliver. But our linebackers, they've been watching and studying under Harper and Rodriguez, but it's time for them to actually show up and put in some work. And I think they have done. I didn't watch any of the spring games, but I heard our defense was doing pretty well. Um, and same with our DBs. We lost Christian Holmes. We lost Jarek Bernard. We lost some pretty notable people, but I think if those younger guys can step in and produce, I think we'll be good. We'll be good with our defense for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Spencer Sanders, who is this his fourth year, right?
Yeah, fourth year.
Fourth year. I mean, the last 3 seasons, he's looked pretty okay. Like he has had
Yeah.
some interceptions.
He's the definition of a dual threat quarterback. More so he likes to run, I think, more
Yeah.
so than throw. But
I mean, do you think OSU could maybe make it to the top 10 again this season, or what's your goal for OSU this season?
my goal for Oklahoma State this year is definitely winning a Big 12 championship. I mean, we were there. We were within inches against Baylor. I mean,
Yeah.
it sucked not having a running back, Jaron Warren. They were trying to save him for the bowl game, I guess, is what if I remember correctly, because he apparently been playing on an injured leg or
Yeah.
ankle injury or something, and so they told him to stay out of this game because they wanted them against Notre Dame in the bowl game, which or had they won that game, there was a chance that they could go into the CFP. So they wanted to keep him fresh as possible. So, but I mean, I think there's a good chance that Oklahoma State can, be in the top 10 this year, definitely make it to the CFP. I mean, of course, there's always a chance, but we definitely would have to win all of our games and outperform most of our opponents.
Yeah.
There might be a little bias this year, especially since this is the last year of the current Big 12. After this year, Texas and OU are leaving, so those games are going to matter way more. Bedlam's going to matter way more now too, especially OU and Oklahoma State, big time rivals.
Yeah.
And once they join the SEC, there's a chance that there couldn't be any more Bedlam games. So this could be the last Bedlam for a while. And especially after the fallout of OU this past season.
Yeah.
So we just gotta wait and see. But I think there's a good chance that we could make it up there. We just gotta, like I said, we gotta win all of our games and outperform the opponent big time.
Yeah. I mean, I think OU and OSU probably. I don't know. I'd say probably OSU is going to be better this season. I mean, OU has Dylan Gabriel, who, he went to UCF, but he wasn't like a big name, QB.
Yeah.
They lost Caleb Williams. They lost
Spencer Rattler. They lost, I think. They lost 2 other receivers. I don't remember which ones they lost. I think they kept Mims, but they lost a lot of their receivers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think OSU will hopefully be better than OU this upcoming season. I mean, I definitely could see OU being a good team as well. I'm not going to be.
Oh, yeah. That
biased.
Sooner magic is what people say they have. So, yeah, we just have to wait and see how, Gabriel does. And how that team is holding up with what's the new coach's name again?
I think it's Brent Venables.
Brent Venables, yeah. Venables, yeah. We'll see what he does.
1 second.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's a good chance OU could be good this year. I don't see them, being the OU that we're all used to, dominating the Big 12, winning another Big 12 championship. If they do, that would be the biggest shock to me personally.
Yeah.
If anything, I think it's going to be down to Oklahoma State and Baylor again. I mean, they always say Texas is back and they always rank Texas in the top 15,
Yeah.
but I just don't see it happening, especially since they didn't even make a bowl game last year. And they lost to Kansas in overtime out of all teams, Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they do have like the top 5 like ranked recruit, QB.
oh, yes.
Do you know what his name is?
Quinn Evans or something like that.
Okay.
Like he transferred. I don't think I mean, they did get a good recruit, but I think their starting quarterback just transferred in. So there's a good chance that, he could take Texas and turn it around. But I doubt it because, I mean, it's also, going to be his first year there. So,
yeah. I mean, it's always a defense for Texas. I mean, their offense has been solid for the last, 10 years or whatever. I mean, it's just like their defense always kind of screws them over in those big games.
I think that's the main thing for most Big 12 teams is, everyone says our defenses suck, and I have to agree, but we also have high performing offenses. That's usually what the Big 12's based around is scoring a bunch of TDs and, praying to God that they don't get past, the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
But we shall
see.
It's
always exciting to watch because, I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
So I'm interested, which teams are coming to the Big 12, Jordan?
So teams coming to we are losing Texas and OU, and we are replacing Texas and OU with the University of Houston, University of Central Florida, BYU, and we're bringing in Cincinnati from the Independents. So we will actually have a full-on Big 12.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see, especially since Cincinnati just made the CFP last year. I mean, they lost in the first round, but that's gonna bring a new contender for people. Houston has been iffy the last years. They'll have like a really good season followed by a crappy season.
Yeah.
So if they can get their consistency up, I can see them being a good contender. BYU has been in the top 25 the last couple of seasons too.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with them.
To be honest, I was surprised by BYU because, I mean, they're so far away. Like,
oh yeah, me too.
So, I mean, it's cool. BYU's cool. It's not bad. Yeah. But Cooper, Celtics lost in Game 6 to the Warriors. Because, I mean, Jordan's a Boston fan, of course. But to you, Cooper, what was like the big difference in Game 6 for the Warriors?
For the Warriors or the Celtics?
For both teams.
Okay, so the Celtics, they just really struggled on offense. I mean, Warriors held Jason Tatum to 13 points, which if he had 26 or something, they would have won that game. So I think it all rode on him. And plus, I mean, the bench, they didn't score much. I think they had 5 bench points, which as a factor. And then the Warriors, I mean, Curry had an amazing game, deserved the finals MVP. So, I mean, it's just good basketball on the Warriors part, but not the greatest offensive scoring on the Boston Celtics part.
Jordan, were you upset? I mean, I know you're a Boston fan, but how upset were you after this, Game 6 for the Celtics?
I mean, it was disappointing, especially since the first game, going into it, I was like, this is the Golden State. I mean, they've known to, this is their time to shine in the playoffs, especially the finals. Boston had been surprising this last couple of years, especially this last year, just showing off. So I had high hopes for them. And that first game, they smoked the Warriors. And I think the second game, the Warriors came back and smoked them. And so I was a little iffy. And then we killed them again in Game 3. And then after that, I think maybe we got too cocky, or I don't know what happened, but I think we just started losing focus on the ultimate goal, and the Warriors just slowly crept back in that game 6. Like I didn't catch the first half, but I mean the second half, from what I could see, is Boston's offense was just they kept missing the shots that they needed.
And when they had the ball, they would turn it over
Oh,
by
the
just
turnovers were
throwing terrible
ridiculous.
passes. It was just so frustrating to watch because, like, I wanted the Boston Celtics to win. I was hoping at least they could win Game 6, maybe lose in Game 7. That's more, I don't know, understandable.
Appropriate, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Game 1 was so exciting to watch because you had like Al Horford and then Derrick White, who had like 25 plus each, which was kind of crazy. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think the Celtics kind of proved that they're a team that is pretty good. I mean, they're not somebody to mess around with. So
Yeah, they'll definitely be back. And like the defensive culture of that team is just, it's miles above any other team. So they'll definitely be back in the finals next year.
So you're saying Celtics are going to be in the finals next year again, Coop?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. And to be honest, I think the Celtics probably be back as well. We could see, maybe Milwaukee or whoever else, I mean. But to me, I think the Celtics probably the best team in the East once again. Jordan, do you have any predictions on the finals next year?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to say, Thunder be up there, but we are way off on that. We got
maybe a couple years.
Yeah, I give it 5 or so years, and
yeah,
we can start talking about their hopes. But I don't know. I mean, there's been so many trades. I thought the Lakers were gonna do good this year. They got all the big house names, and they just flopped.
They screwed up.
I can definitely see the Celtics being in there next year. Milwaukee's been a contender the last couple of years. They would get so close. They would always make the playoffs, but end up finding a way out.
I think this year the absence of Chris Middleton really hurt them. So I mean, if we see him back, then it's gonna be a tougher Eastern Conference Finals game or series. But yeah.
I mean, to your boy, I think the Lakers probably are the most disappointing team from last year, in my opinion. And I mean, they got a new head coach. They got, hopefully they can get some young talent around them. But we'll see. I mean, Russ, I told you, Coop, Russ might be going to Charlotte.
Yeah.
To the Hornets.
Which I think the Lakers are, I think they're keeping him just because they've put so much money into him.
I mean,
So.
He's making like $40 million a year, so they should probably.
That's what these stars do. They play really good one season, get a big max contract, and then just play like crap.
Yeah. I mean, do you think Russ to the Hornets would fit Cooper? Like, do you think that would be a pretty solid fit?
I don't know, because like Russ is really like, he wants the ball. He kind of manages everyone. So I think they could use a really like talented and experienced point guard. I think he would definitely start if they're paying him that much money.
Yeah.
Terry Rozier really hasn't been that great for the Hornets. I mean, he's put up some pretty good numbers this past season, but I think the flow with him, like LaMelo, like Miles Bridges, I think they really need to focus on like a big man, down court. So I don't know, it might fit, but I'd have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow we got the NBA draft coming up. OKC got the number 2 pick and the number 12 pick.
So,
Jordan, do you know like which player you think OKC is going to take in the draft tomorrow?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, basketball's more y'all's thing, football's more my thing, but I know I did when I did hear about us winning the lottery and getting the second pick, and we also had the 12th pick, and I was like, that's a good sign right there. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't really know the upcoming stars that well to give my opinion on it, but I mean, with the history of the number 2 pick, I think we are in a good position to get someone good.
Yeah.
So,
Cooper, who do you think for the second pick we could get possibly? Like
Okay,
which player?
so I think the Magic are gonna pick Jabari Smith because they're kind of lacking in that guard position.
Mhm.
But it's kind of a coin toss. I don't know who Oklahoma City's really looking at right now. But I mean, Paulo Banchero or Chet, I think would fit. Paulo would be a better player, like up front, because he's such a big body. He's like what 6'10", 240,
Yeah.
just massive. So, and then you got Chet, who's like 7 foot, like 140. So,
I mean,
I don't know. It'll take him a couple of years to develop into that player that OKC needs, but I think I'd be happy with either one. I don't really care.
I would say Paolo is probably more NBA ready right now than Chet. Because I mean, Chet's so tiny and skinny.
Like he's big, but he's pretty scrawny. So.
And to be honest, I think we need more like a center type player. And I think Paolo would fit that automatically. So maybe we'll see what happens tomorrow.
We shall see.
Jordan, I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we can do some more.
Yeah, hopefully we can do this. Yeah.
I agree. We definitely need to do more of this.
So I appreciate you coming on. Cooper, thank you for coming on again. If you guys can, please hit that subscribe button, follow, like podcasts. I'll see you in a little bit.